Welcome along to Chris's Comedy Lounge, Extra Time Friday, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure. And you know what I want to start off the show with? I want to talk about relationships. Yeah, that's right. Because it's that ever-ending argument. What is a good relationship? What's a bad relationship? How do relationships work out? But most importantly, how do you come back from a bad relationship? I tell you a good relationship, because they're different. Old school relationships last. Like my parents celebrated 50 years this time last year. They speak for 48 of those years, but you know what? That's probably why it lasted. Because the age-old argument again is what makes a good relationship. And you know what it does? Being honest. Because in any relationship, you do not want, ladies and gentlemen, to take things for granted. Because once you start taking things for granted, then it goes all pear-shaped. And sometimes I put my hands up as a man. We've all been there, we've all done it. When we think we're in the perfect relationship, where we think that we're running things, but we're not running things. Because deep down, that woman is burning inside and she's just waiting for the right option to bounce. And if that happens, unfortunately, I've been there, we're gonna come home to the echo. And no man wants to come home to the echo. There was one time I was with my boys, I was out partying every weekend, I was raving every weekend, DJing, doing what I was doing, and I came home with about 4 of my boys. And there's always that one bridge and he says to you, Quince, are you sure your missus is all right with this? And me being ignorant, Quincy, I was like, yeah, I got this. I run things in my relationship. And I opened the door and I came home to that echo. As the key went in, I said, hello, baby, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home.
I know, these feelings never go. I know, I should let go, baby. I know, these feelings never go. I know, I should let go, baby.
Janelle, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm alright. Do you know what? I'm always second guessing what you're gonna wear. I like how you
Nice though, innit?
coordinate.
Coordinate.
So where's this piece from today?
This is from Mamal Boutique. So big up Mamal Boutique. Thank you very much. Where's this from?
Zara's.
Hashtag.
Sponsor, man. So look, today is a DJ special today, and we are going to introduce 2 prominent DJs on the circuit and on the clubs and radio and around the world. So I'm going to introduce one, and the other one I'm going to let you introduce because you've got a supermarket story to tell. So it gives me great pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce a young man that I can only say that I've watched him rise through the ranks and most importantly, just kill every dance and wedding he has been at. So put your hands together and make some noise for DJ Milktray in the building!
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
It's all good, man, it's all good. So, look, this is just your friend.
Okay, so it gives us great pleasure to introduce another legend in the DJ and music game and someone that shaped the landscape of British music, DJ Spoony, everybody!
Respect. So guys, thank you for taking your time out in this busy schedule of yours. You know what I mean? Back in the clubs doing the DJing. Is that going all right for you both?
For me, yeah, it's good to be back. Missed it. Missed interacting with the people. Missed the money. I'm not gonna lie. I missed the money. That's the reality. So, but yeah, it's good to be back. Weddings, all of that stuff. This summer's been busy. 20 weddings down. Still got like 6 to go.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so yeah, man.
Love is still around.
Yeah, man, definitely. Yeah, man. Blessed and highly favoured, man. So.
And what would you, so you said about 20 weddings, just out of interest, what are your favourite kind of events to DJ at then?
I'd probably say weddings. I'd probably take a wedding booking over like a club night, just because you get a lot more love. The appreciation level is there, and again, the money's a lot better. So for me, it's a win-win.
Yeah. Spoony, when's the last time you played at a wedding, Spoony?
Last time I played at a wedding, maybe it's a little while, but I've done a lot of private events. I've done a lot of 40ths and 50ths and 30ths. So, you know, similar vein. I've got quite a bad record of weddings. A lot of the weddings that I've played at in the past, the couples have broken up. So I think that's kind of gone round, and no one's booking me for weddings anymore.
So, both DJs, you're both top DJs, and there was rumours about the club scene with the double vaccinations and all that, and it was possibility that a lot of the clubs weren't going to reopen. You know what I mean? What was that news like? What was that feeling like for yourself, Spoony? You know what I mean? The possibility of playing in front of a crowd of Leyton Orient.
I mean, look. I'd like this conversation to be one of celebration. And listen, once we start talking about COVID and vaccinations, we could go down a rabbit hole. What I will say though is, I think we always need to stay in the vein and theme of celebration. That we need to celebrate freedom of choice. And I think my main craw about the vaccination program is that it seems to be taking away people's freedom of choice. I think as long as people are allowed to decide whether they want it or they don't want it, I'm cool with it. What I'm really not happy with is the fact that it's being forced upon people. So let's celebrate freedom of choice. It's what we fight for. It's what people have fought historically for, just freedom. And as long as we've got that, then if you choose to have it, you know, I love the fact that here in the UK, there are people that want it, that they can have it. There's people in other parts of the world that want to have the vaccination that can't have the vaccination. But what I'm saying is nobody should be forced to take the vaccination. So from that end, I'm happy that Clubland, at least for the short-term foreseeable future, here in the UK, we don't have to be vaccinated and we can just, dance and sing as we always did.
Yeah, for me, it was worrying because we're all entertainers, you know what I mean, in our own right. And just to know that, I actually said to myself, what DJ or comedian has done to a member of the government while they are killing the hospitality industry? Did you think to yourselves, like, what's the hospitality industry done that it's been punished so bad?
For me, I wasn't sure, I'll be honest, but I think it forced a lot of us to rethink our industry as well. I know for myself, not being able to DJ anywhere kind of forced me to then set up a home studio. So I was able to start streaming, start using platforms like Twitch, Zoom parties. Like in the first lockdown, I was doing Zoom parties every weekend. 40th birthdays, wedding anniversaries, literally like any function. I was able to do that and do it from the comfort of my home, which did really allow me to open up my mind to think it's not always about the kind of being out. Because as a DJ, as an entertainer, we're out late, we're on the road late, and to be able to be in my house in that season was good for me because I was able to spend time with the family, spend time with my kids, and not have to kind of think about childcare, etc. So for me, it was a little bit of a blessing because it allowed me to kind of open up other avenues, other revenue streams. I was still streaming on Twitch, which really helped me in the lockdown because I was able to do what I want to do in a way that I want to do it on my own terms. And for me, that was a real great opportunity.
Spoony, I've got ask. So our Janelle here is a big reggae lover, and like I say, during the lockdown, that's the first time on the Zooms and also some of your Twitches, you played a selection of like, well, you done a reggae sets. I've never seen you play reggae. I was like, I want it. I mean, I've seen you play soul. You know what I mean? And you're a proper reggae head. And you...
I'm just do you know what? I love reggae, but I love music. I love music that I grew up to. And that's what it is. It is, I've been cultivated in the generation where, and like many of us, where, you know, on a Sunday, mum is in the kitchen cooking, you might be doing a bit of cleaning in the house, and dad is playing his tunes, and it's just a vibe. And that was in my grandmother's house as well. Also, my uncle had a sound system, so I grew up with that in my blood. So there are tunes that probably as a youngster, I was like, oh, that's old people's music, man.
Yeah, but
you
now-
know, but now
now,
it gives me so much
yeah.
hope, joy, comfort, brings back so much nostalgia and memories. So I know that, for example, Spoony, you yourself, you, I know, would come from an eclectic kind of exposure to music, because when you're in your car with your top down, when the British men are loud and you're banging tunes and a lot of rare groove, that's not generally within, you know, kind of what people who don't know the full spectrum of Spoony might expect. So it wouldn't surprise me that Spoony would do a reggae set.
And I will say, what's the music you say you play, you relax to? You that is, cause I've never seen you smile so much. You playing reggae.
So here's the thing, really, just going on from what Janelle said there, right? So lockdown came, and I had my studio at home already set up for streaming. I'd done a couple of live streams on Facebook, and then decided right on lockdown, we actually did the first in a series at the Friday before lockdown started. But I thought, right, everyone knows me to play house and garage. So the first show that I did was a house and garage show on a Friday, and I had Master Steps and Pioneer and Norris the Boss Windross come over to my house. Lifford came and done a PA in my front room as well, and we just did it like that. And then on the Sunday, I decided that I was going to do a stream. I've got a playlist on Spotify called Sunday Morning in Hackney, right? So literally it was just all Sunday mornings in all black people's houses. They smelt the same and they kind of sounded the same. You can smell the coconut cream in the peas cooking from 4 a.m. When dinner got nearer to being finished, you can smell the hair being burnt off the chicken, and you knew what it smelt like, right? But what it also sounded like, you know, it sounded like John Holt and Sugar Minor and the Heptones and some Bob Marley, and it might have sounded like a little bit of Betty Wright and Shirley Murdoch, and maybe a little bit of James Brown, definitely a little bit of soca, because my mum was from St Kitts. So I then kind of said I wanted to do a show playing the kind of music that nobody really hears me play, but just to show that actually I'm a 70s boy from Hackney, and that was it. But I loved it because it just took me back to that time when you're just young, carefree, not a care in the world, just about playing football and listening to music. That's really what my life consisted of then.
One of the things when you watched you on that Sundays, and you used to play your old school music and the rare grooves, and it was like it was an opportunity to see a different side of you genre-wise. And I remember you was playing some of the rare grooves, and this is what got me. Telling the story, I actually thought about the story of your mum and the dog.
I hope it's the right story, right? So we had a dog, and I'm not going to say what the dog's name is, because it's like it's not politically correct to call your dog or say these kind of things now. But the dog, all right, we had a dog called Blackie, right? And he was a fantastic dog, really, really smart dog. He would walk me to school, and you know, we lived in Newton Green, and he would walk to Highbury, where my school was, and walk back on his own. Like, fine, cool. He'd go out when he wanted to go to the toilet, knock the door when he wanted to come back. He was like a human. But what that also meant is that, you know, when it was going down in my house, like, you know, there was 4 boys. So what would happen if one person's getting licks, everybody's getting licks. That's kind of how it was. And I hope this is the right story, right? But Blackie kind of forgot that he was a dog and not one of the kids. So one time we're getting licks, and he kind of must have shaped up to my mum, and he jumped up at my mum, and he got one box in that mid-air. He turned 180 degrees without his feet touching the floor and run off. And the thing was, I've never seen anything like that in my life, and it wasn't a time to laugh. But it was something that I will never, ever, ever forget. So, you know, from that, when he saw that when he saw that the licks were giving out, he just went under the stairs and called his beans, boy. He didn't want none of that smoke that my mum would give out, because everyone would get a piece.
So we are outside the Palladium, where we're going to see our boy Slim, and I've bumped into another comedic great, Mr. Miles Crawford. One of the reasons why it's probably paved the way for likes of myself and Slim to enter this arena, so to speak. How you doing?
I'm very, very good.
I'm loving the jackets.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's an epical moment today, you know, and you know, really we could create history here, because if we can, hopefully the people will turn out for Slim, and even if we pack the stalls and the Royal Circle, that would be the first time a black comedian of our era has done that.
How does it make you feel like when you started out in the business like a little while ago, and you've seen the likes of Slim and Gina come up and myself? So like, to see us up here, you know what I mean? Is it for all the work you've put in? Is for a cause?
Do you know, it's epical. You know, I always think nothing happens before its time.
Yeah.
Right? And all of us have taken knocks. We've played all the clubs, we've played all the different venues. We could talk for an hour about all the different venues we've played.
Yeah.
The knocks we've taken and stuff like that. But you have got a plethora of black comedians just under the radar.
Right, this guy on my show, so plethora.
Right, I'm sorry.
Don't be using a long word in my show.
Sorry.
Guns off the circuit. Slim, I mean Mr. C.
Oh, man, we cut your laps, boy.
And Victor Dangerous. So, I just want to ask you both, man, how proud is that watching one of our boys just done the Palladium?
It was amazing, man. He was on fire from beginning to end. My foliage.
It's another one coming in up.
I felt like it was the first time I've been to a comedy show. That's how good it was. It just took it back to the beginning.
Yeah,
It was proper.
And look, for me, like, I remember being a kid watching the live varieties performance at the Palladium. And you know what? I think the only time I've ever seen a black person on that stage who was funny was Lenny Henry. And that was a long time ago. But to see my boy Slim, to be up there, absolutely shelling it from start to finish.
And using a lot of Clark's words.
Listen. My only regret is that I didn't get the roll box and drop the Jamaican flag down there and let off fireworks and say, Boyaka! Because, long live the king. Slim, you done the thing, my brother. Come on. Marlon Davis in the place, man. Rudy, come in.
Rudy Liquid. As he comes round.
Yeah, man.
We just say this, gentlemen. This is the cream of the black comedy circuit.
Yeah, man. For real.
No, they call me the hidden chocolate, the hidden secret.
Yeah.
The hidden secret.
And we just want to say, you know what? This is just the beginning. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. Don't tell it from now.
This is like platform 2. Right, so wait when you see 3, 4, 5, and 6, then you're gonna know about it.
And also remember the Black British Takeover, O2, Mo Gilligan, Slim, Tanya Moore,
I'm not even Jamaican.
Next thing, and the Royal Blood Clot Albert Hall, you understand? See it? Sorry, somebody has to translate now.
R-A-H.
Subtitles.
So tonight, we had Slim at the Royal Palladium, and it was absolutely splendid. Marvellous. Absolutely what's it called? Spliffingly. Absolutely top class.
And big up Junior Booker.
No. You know what? Junior Booker just done the best solo warm-up in history.
He did.
In history. There's
In the
been
same
nobody.
trainers as last week.
Same trainers.
One of the things out of lockdown, we saw different sides of you both. You know what I mean? And your inspirational stuff came out more.
Yeah.
And you was doing a lot more stuff with the football. You know what I mean? So just Milktray, the inspirational stuff, like where does that come from?
Yeah, so I started the segment on a radio show when I was on a previous station called On Top. I was doing breakfast every morning, Monday to Friday, and we came up with a segment called Milktray's Motivation. So what I was doing was taking motivational videos that I was using for my own personal development, and converting them to MP3 and then playing them on the radio show every morning at 8:30. The likes of Eric Eric Thomas, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, Steve Harvey's, those kind of guys. I was using their content as a part of the show, and then so like we'd have it like maybe a 5-10 minute piece, and then I'd break it down afterwards, make it a bit more tangible, a bit more relatable. And I was doing that for a year, and then we started doing our own motivational seminars called Milktray Motivation Live. And then within just over a year, we won an award at the Back to Black Awards back in, I think, 2016. And then we were doing live events all the way up until COVID. So we were doing live seminars, started in Croydon in a room that could hold like 100 people. And then we moved it to the Doubletree Hilton Hotel.
Wow.
And could hold like 300 people. And then continued doing that via Instagram in the lockdown. So I'd have guests come on, just like a two-way interview. And yeah, that really allowed me to then kind of get into teaching kids how to DJ. So a friend of mine, JR, started a DJ company called the Rights Academy and asked me to come on board as a tutor. So I started teaching back in 2017. So I'm a DJ tutor. And then last year I stepped out on my own. We've come up with what we call the Hope Program, which is a DJ workshop and mentoring company. We're based in Croydon, and we go around the local community teaching young people and children how to DJ. And then it's just kind of spiraled into just so many other areas.
That's fantastic. I never knew that there were DJ tutors out there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, which is amazing. So, in terms of DJ tutoring, do you really go back to basics with vinyl or do you keep it kind of in the now, which is CDJs or
no? So
MP3
we start initially with controllers to get allow them to get a little feel for it. Because we know that kids are a little bit temperamental, so they might love something for a couple of weeks, and then they're like, let me try something new. But so we start them off on controllers with Serato. We have different courses, so we got the entry level, intermediate, and the advanced. When you get to the advanced class, then you get the access to like 1210s and DJing like how we used to, like vinyls on the wall and all of that kind of stuff. So there's no beat matching, there's no BPMs. Like you just got to know how to do it.
Change the pitch.
Yeah, you got to change pitches and that. And it's just the best feeling.
Wow.
So I've just started a course at a youth centre called The Legacy in Croydon. And I'll be there for the next like 5-6 weeks. I've got the kind of entry level, so I've got the juniors and the seniors. And it's just amazing.
I can imagine.
It's just the best feeling.
Yeah.
Have you two played with each other?
No, do you know what? Sorry to jump in. I was actually booked. So back in 2019, Spoony was doing a Spoony's House, yeah? Just before COVID, and I got the phone call, Milktray, you're booked for Spoony's House. I said, yes! I was like, yes! Made it. Had the flyer on my Instagram, everything, and then COVID popped down the wall thing.
Oh gosh.
Popped down the wall thing.
Who's Spoony? Who's like I said, outside of DJing, you do presenting with the football, the Premiership and stuff like that. And one thing I love about when I watch you talk about the football, it is like you are DJing, and it's you are like talking to one of the guys in the barber shop. You know what I mean? You enjoy it just as much as the DJing.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, football was might have been like my first love and my first passion. I mean, I was sort of spending a lot more time playing football than I was playing music as a kid. I was playing football 3-4 times a week. But I guess I found myself in a bit of a fortunate position that my hobbies became my work and my career. So, again, I'm fortunate, and I guess along the way, everyone loves music. So a lot of these guys that I sit and speak to on air and on camera, I've at some point crossed in at some event of a kind in the past. So a lot of people, I have that relationship, like I said, out of the studio. So yeah, it's nice, and they know that I'm a real football person. And even though my allegiances are always and will be always red, I'm a football lover. So I think once people know that you're really in tune to the game, the sport, or the art, whatever that art is, then you do get a lot of love from its main protagonist. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So just to clear up, when Spoons talk about he's a die-hard Reds and meaning being East End boys, die-hard Reds means we're Liverpool fans.
But that's interesting because Spoony is a North Londoner. You never got sucked into the Goonership.
Never ever. When I was growing up, Arsenal were like the most boring football team. So as a man who had a bit of pace and a bit of skill, I was never going to support Arsenal. It was always going to be a team that had a little bit about it, and that was Liverpool, and that's it really.
So talking of North London, Spoony, tell me something. Do you still shop at Sainsbury's?
So can I just say, right, and I'm glad you've brought that up, because at the top of the show, when when Q said something about supermarket story, I'm thinking, boy, I can't wait to hear this Milktray supermarket story. Actually, it's me.
Enlighten us.
So I used to work part-time in Sainsbury's in a Sainsbury's in North London, and you would always come to my till.
I remember you now. In Manor House. You were at Manor House.
Yes. And the last time we met, I reminded you of the same story, and you said the same thing. I remember you now. So yeah.
You were at Manor House. I said, what I wear them get a Christing on the till.
But we're going way back. I mean, probably like late 90s.
Oh,
yeah, late 90s, because I left there. I left there in about 2000.
That's a classic.
And you'd always be pleasant. I knew you were. You'd always come to my till, and obviously that's when the garage scene was like really popping. It was still a little bit niche, a little bit underground. And then I remember one day, like there was a rave I really wanted to go to, and I plucked up the courage and I said to you, you've got a party on Saturday. Would there be any chance that I could get a ticket? And you were like, you know who I am? I'm like, yeah. And you said to me, you've never asked me ever before if you could come to one of our raves. And I'm like, no.
Because I'm light skinned.
No, and I said, you know what? Because you come in here to shop, right? And you were like, you should have told me. And yeah, anyway.
There you go. Did you get a ticket?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I got a guest list.
So the thing is, right, that I suppose that it's maybe anyone watching this now, that conversation and situation there would have been had pre-social media, right? So now people might know you or know your face or know your voice because they see you post stuff up online, whatever platform it is. But back then, people would only really know you if they came out. So I'm standing behind the decks, I'm playing music, it's about the music, it's not like I'm running around with a chicken outfit on. So I would never ever expect people to know who I was. They might know my name because Pirate Radio, or I think then we might have been on Kiss or even Radio 1 at that stage, but you don't expect people to recognise your face because we weren't out there visually. So it always and often surprised me when people would like recognise me, even though we were doing our thing at that time. Do you know what I mean? So especially when you're looking for some from aubergine and cucumber and custard cream biscuits in Sainsbury's. Do you know what I mean?
So like, you are one of the most recognisable DJs out there, alongside our good friend, and even more now because you've taken garage and house music to another level. Explain to us about garage classical. Is that the right name?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like when I look at my CV, and I feel so lucky and blessed to have a CV as long and as deep as I have. But I think that 2017, where we kind of started coming up with the idea and developing the idea of garage classical, to 2019 when we did the Royal Albert Hall. I remember walking off stage thinking, over 20 years of playing this music, and now we're selling out the Royal Albert Hall, and it's phenomenal. Listen, garage classical's my thing, but it's as much and more to do with the great work that everybody involved with UK Garage has had to do all over those years, that over 20 years later, here we are still playing and supporting what started out as a very underground scene. But I mean, like I said, you know, last week we did the Roundhouse in Camden, 30-piece orchestra, 20 songs, 20 odd performers on stage. You know, it's just brilliant atmosphere, brilliant vibe, and like I said, we are still celebrating life in through the eyes of UK Garage.
As you mentioned that, let's take a look at some of the footage of that wonderful event, which I wasn't invited to, but it's all right.
1, 2, 1, 2, mic check. If you love UKG, baby, say
And we're back.
That was great.
Amazing.
It was amazing. But you know what? In my mind now, looking at that and thinking, like, from college, you know, from kind of really kind of underground raves to Coliseum. We have to mention Coliseum. We have to.
Come
to
on.
the Albert Hall, to the Roundhouse. It's just spectacular, you know. So I salute you. I salute all of you guys out here who've been consistent and working. And it's just beautiful to see the progress and the evolution. And actually how, like I said, these guys have actually shaped the landscape of British culture, music and history, you know.
So look, let me just...
Can I just, Q, I just want to jump in there, right? And just in case I don't get another opportunity to big up Milktray, to big up Ray from Fifth Avenue, to big up all of the sound systems. Like, I know that I've been so blessed to do national radio and national TV, but really when you boil it down, I'm just a DJ, a sound guy like all of these guys. And when I go out and, you know, I'll go onto a stream and I don't always let it be known that I'm there watching, I'm absolutely being inspired by everything that my colleagues are doing, you know what I mean? So Milktray, just big up you, big up your career and the stuff that you're doing now in the community and the teaching. Like, I salute you, bruv. It's like maximum respect, man. Maximum.
I'm making today's show a DJ special because I've taken inspiration from you both, from myself playing in the R&B room in Twice as Nice in I listen Podium, you know. Old I am, that's it, the Podium. Yeah. And obviously yourself with the motivational stuff. For me, I've watched, I've admired, and I've taken my stand-up from radio DJing to stand-up to where we are today. So you guys are fed off both your energy, and I appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Definitely. Before we wrap up, if you wanna...
Yeah, well, I'm just intrigued. So by your names, so I've always known you as Spoony, and you know, I'm gonna come to you next, Spoony, about why Spoony, but Milktray. You know, I mean, as a lady, most women love chocolates. Yeah. Milktray. Why Milktray? Did you abseil into a...
All right. So see, Spoony already knows. So I was 16 at the time. Me and my cousin Ibs decided to set up a sound system, like you do. The sound system's called Sweet Boy Entertainment. We're still going. Big up to my team. So we was like, alright, cool, we got to come up with some sweet boy names, innit? So I said to Ibs, I was like, yo, like, what are you going to call yourself? He's like, yeah, girls like Valentine's, and he's like, boom, I'm going to call myself Mr. Valentine. I was like, oh, that's sick. So then he was like, yo, like, what are you going to call yourself? I was like, what do girls like? He's like, they like chocolates, innit? I was like, yeah. So we started running through the list. He's like, what about DJ Roses? I was like, nah, can't really run with that one. And then he's like, what about Ferrero Rocher? I said, that's too complicated to write, fam. And then he said, what about Black Magic? I said, we come from a Christian household, so we don't go around that road. And then he's like, what about Milktray? I was like, yeah, because my man used to like jump out the helicopter, swim across the ocean, climb up the side of the castle, jump into her room while she's in the shower, leave the box of chocolates and the silhouette, And then obviously the catchphrase was all because the lady loves.
Milktray.
And that's how I got the name. I was 16 at the time.
Yo,
And
I
I'm now grown. And my first son, I got twin boys, and I always said that my first son would be called Trey. So I kept that name going. So
Fantastic.
yeah, that's where the name comes from.
That advert was the dumbest advert.
I know.
I'm not travelling all that way through shark waters and then to drop off some chocolate. I'm staying that night.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, you know that now.
Ain't happening.
Oh gosh. Okay, so Spoony, for yourself, why DJ Spoony?
The name's Spoony, right? So, do you want the long version or the short version?
I want the realist version.
And the version which finishes because it's only a half an hour show, but go on.
Okay. So at primary school, basically, they said that I used to look like a boy in the older school, and they called him Spoony and they called me Little Spoony. And you go through school years, and then suddenly there are less people calling you Little because you're now in the 3rd or the 4th year. So Little got dropped and it was just Spoony. But the reason they called him Spoony was something to do with his head shape. So apparently my head was shaped like a spoon. So they called me Spoony.
So look, my first DJ name was Funky D.
Funky D.
Funky D, my first.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
I don't know. Because I don't know. It was just given to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't choose it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It was given to me.
Q, you know what I also wanted to say? And this is something that I know we've already spoken about the fact that people didn't know that I played reggae and rare groove and stuff, right? Something else that people may not know is at the start of 2020, I think it was the start of 2020. Yeah, it was the start of 2020. I went and done a stand-up comedian course. Did you know that?
Yes, you did.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
I did hear because you were. Yeah, I did hear. How did that turn out?
And I performed at the Comedy Store in Leicester Square.
No way.
Wow.
You kept that quiet. You kept that. What?
You know.
He didn't want you heckling him in the crowd.
Yeah.
No. So what made you go to stand up?
The reason I did it, like I grew up, I think I grew up in the golden era of comedians from both the UK and the US. You know, I'm talking Bernie Mac in his prime, Richard Pryor in his prime, Eddie Murphy in his prime. You know, some of my favourites from the UK, Harry Enfield, Kenny Everett. So I've always loved comedy, and I've always loved the more subtle and sarcastic, cerebral side of comedy and how it sort of dealt with like real issues. And I just wanted to take myself out of a comfort zone and really challenge and test myself. And I was thinking it, and then one day it just popped up on my inbox. Have you ever thought about doing stand-up? And I like looked around the room thinking that I'm being bugged or something, because it might have been a week before I was thinking about it. And I just signed up and went and done the course, and then, you know, I think I'd done like an 8-minute set, and yeah, that was me, man. I'm buzzing with it, and I'm gonna surprise a couple of people and come out with it again.
He's excited, you know. He's excited.
And you know what? I got my hashtag stand up Mondays. I'm gonna get you to come on. I should do a select, because you know who else thinks he's a funny man? Idris.
Yeah.
And I've been saying to him, I'm gonna bring his ass on stage one day. So I should get Spoony, Idris, and some other.
But the only thing is that the only problem with that is man no work for free, you know. A big time coming.
Must already up the peas.
What's that? You put it on after Jadakiss and Dipset.
Well, the price has gone up.
The price I was yesterday.
Yesterday's price ain't today's price.
So look, before we wrap up, just what have you got coming up, Spoon?
I've got coming up, we're doing another Spoony's House in December. Of course, my continued work with the Premier League. I might be back on Twitch before the year's out. I'm I'm just debating on my schedule with regards to that. But yeah, I'm about. You'll see me pop up here and there, social media at DJ Spoony. Yeah, that's it. And if you don't see me on social media, just leave me and mind people's business, innit? I just don't want to be bothered.
Any more drop top Rare Groove sing-alongs?
Yeah, if the weather's nice, I'll take the roof off and have a little sing-song. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, for sure. I love doing that. That's a happy place for me, singing with the roof off and the sun out. That's a nice bit of solitude. Even I'll share it.
I did like your little verses with you and Goldie. That was quite entertaining.
Yeah. Beat him up, man. He can't come test me, star.
Right, we move on.
Yeah, I'm launching my own radio station next month. Online radio station called Reach LDN Radio. It'll be incorporating some of the young people that we work with on the Hope program. I'll be back on Twitch at some point as well, similar to Spoony. And a few functions coming up in Christmas. And yeah, that's really...
We can't let you leave here because, like I said, you started on top.
Yeah.
And you've gone on to doing the morning shows for BBC One Extra.
Yeah, so...
that's big news, King.
Yeah, so earlier this year, I got an email from a producer at One Extra, Adele. She'd been seeing what I was doing online with my Sunday service, and they were saying that they wanted that show on the station. So so basically what I do is I take gospel, because I come from church. It's a big part of our family, but I love music, so I was taking like Kirk Franklin and mixing it with Master Steps melody, or I might take like a Mr. Vegas, I'm Blessed, and mix it with gigs. So we came up with a concept called Mix and Praise, and then they got wind of that via Instagram and Twitch. They got in contact and they were like, can we have that as a mix every other week for One Extra's breakfast show with Remy Bergs. So I'm on One Extra every other week, man, and it's just been an amazing blessing. Like just to be, to come from Pirate, and a very similar story. I started on Pirate on Delight with So Solid back in like 2002, 2003, and radio is the thing that I love. Like it gives me so much life. So to be able to tick that off now and say like, yeah, because I've been trying to get to One Extra for a long time. Like
they come to you,
and then look, they came to me. So
it's that classic saying: if they build it, they will come.
Come on now.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a tremendous show. It's been a DJ special, so I want to give it up for the pioneers in the DJ game. Give it a round for DJ Spoony in the house.
And of course, the man that every lady loves, DJ Milktray.
Babes, I don't want no trouble in that, babes.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Babes, we don't want no trouble. I don't want no trouble with the ring. Hey, listen. I don't even use the jingle no more.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the show. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. I've enjoyed myself. My co-host Janelle has enjoyed herself. And you know what we do at Extra Time Fridays? We give British jobs back to black British people. Hashtag Boris, please take note. So at the end of the show, a personal friend of mine, Mr. JJ, born to sing, with his wonderful track, Top of the Mountain.
Oh, no. Yeah. There are times when I get weary and my eyes are filled with water. In the valley, I just can't seem to see the top of the mountain. Oh, I fall down on my knees, tears rolling down my face, and I cry, Father, how much more must I say? Oh Lord, help me please, 'cause I can't seem to see the top of the mountain. Oh, but I can see down way over yonder. I see them coming to capture my soul. But I shall stand here. Oh no, I'm not running. 'Cause I know my God, He's in control. Oh, I fall down on my knees, tears rolling down my face, and I cry, Father, how much more must I take? Oh Lord, help me please, 'cause I can't seem to see the top of the mountain. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can't see it. No. Yeah. There are times when I get weary, and my eyes, they are filled with water. In the valley, I just can't seem to see the top of the mountain. Oh,